actually be able to kind of stifle Kentucky there a little bit. So I'm going to take the 12.5, and I'm going to go with Vanderbilt because I have a feeling they want to come out. This is a game they've got to have.
Much like I'm tired of picking Ole Miss, I'm tired of picking against Vandy. I'm not a believer saying that they're the best team, since sliced bread, and I'm about tired of reading Chad Caldwell's tweets about James Franklin riding in a helicopter. I think most coaches at the college level has probably ridden in a helicopter at some point, and I had about 10 of them saying he was riding in one. So congratulations, Mr. Franklin, Coach Franklin, on your helicopter ride. But I do think they go and take care of business against Kentucky. 12.5 points. I agree with Blair. I think they've been on the verge of winning one of these games. Instead of winning a game against one of those big games, I think they're just going to take their frustration out on a team that they can beat. So I'm taking Vandy on this one. Next one we'll flip to. I'll let you do this one, Blair. We've got the Alabama Crimson Tide going to your Mississippi State Bulldogs. Mississippi State getting 17 points.
I'm excited about this. I'm going to be there in person, and I'm glad that it's 6:45 so that I can actually tailgate a little bit.
Get sauced up.
And I'm going to hope that Alabama's just a little bit kind of worn out from last week, but I think I'm going to cover the 17. Was it 17.5 or 17?
17.
Yeah, 17. I'm going to take Mississippi State. I think that we're going to bounce back from a pretty terrible rush defensive effort last week, and we seem to kind of bounce back from those. And we've played LSU very well. We played South Carolina very well, who had some pretty stout running games. So I'm thinking we're going to be able to keep it in there. I still think Bama easily wins the game, but I think they're going to have somewhat of a letdown just because it's going to be difficult to get back up, especially on the road.
I kind of agree with you. I think that's a good spread right there around 17. I think Alabama's going to have this as a 2-score game, double digits most of the time. It's one of those where they're up 14 and up 17, somewhere around there. And what's going to happen? Is Alabama going to add a late touchdown on a run late, or is Mississippi State going to add a meaningless one? I'm going to say that Mississippi State's going to add one of those meaningless touchdowns to take it from about a 20-point game to a 13-point game, make it look closer than it actually was. I'm going to take Mississippi State to cover the 17, or to get with the 17.
I like those choices. One thing that I think that Alabama might be coming into this game doing, and I know style points don't weight a lot in the big scheme of things, but they've got some things to prove. We've already talked about how they still have a shot for the national championship, so they're going to look to keep on the throttle and really come back and prove that they deserve to be in that speak. So for that reason, I think they're going to come out strong. They're not going to be letting off. I see it being a 17, 21-point victory, so I'm going to go with Alabama on that.
All right, next game, and this is probably, in my opinion, the game of the week, but I'm going to save the other two because we don't have spreads on them. We'll just break them down. We've got Auburn traveling to Georgia. Georgia's a 13-point favorite. That's a tough one. I think that's a few too many points. I think Georgia wins this game, but I like Michael Dyer. I like Ontario McCaleb. I think they can run the ball. I don't like that Auburn's shakiness at quarterback, but I think this is going to be a little bit closer game. Georgia didn't get a lot of good practice. They'll have their running backs, their high running backs back for this game. So I'm taking Auburn to cover this one.
Their quarterbacks are well rested. I mean, their running backs are well rested at Georgia.
Yeah, and full probably.
Yeah, so
got their munchies out of the way.
Yeah, so got a little weight to get down. In wrestling, they got to lose a couple pounds to make weight. But they're well rested. They had an easy game. I mean, they got. I would guess a lot of players got to get subbed in. So, I think Georgia's going to – I don't like that number, but I really don't. 13's a scary number for this game because Auburn can score, but I just have a feeling Georgia's going to pull that one out.
So you're going with Georgia, huh?
I am.
All right. I'm going to go with Auburn. They're coming off a bye week. I think it's for Auburn, I think that's a good thing for them. They had a pretty nice little – run there of games, and now they had a week off to kind of get some things cleaned up. But 13, I think Georgia wins the game, but I think Auburn keeps it close.
All right. Next game we'll go to is Tennessee at Arkansas. We don't have a spread on this one yet. I think that's due to a little speculation about Tyler Bray. He got his cast off today. I fully expect him to have at least another week. I do think he'll play for the Vanderbilt game. If I had to put a line on this, I would say it's going to be somewhere in the 16-point range would be my guess. I think that Arkansas is about a 2-touchdown, maybe a 13-point, maybe 12, somewhere around there, better than Tennessee. Give them a few extra points because they're at home. I think Tennessee can keep this interesting for the first half. They've played a lot of teams close in the first half. The difference here is that Tennessee, if they've shown some weakness, it's been in their secondary. And with Brent Brewer going out for the season with an ACL injury, you got Prentice Wagner moving back and forth, and they're starting, they got a freshman in there. They're rotating 3 freshmen in the secondary, and if there's one thing Arkansas can do is throw the ball. I see Tyler Wilson being able to throw the ball in Tennessee, and Jarius Wright having another big game. I'd love to say that Tennessee can hang in this game, but I just think that they'll keep it close, and then in the third quarter you'll get a couple more touchdown passes, and they'll make it a 2-score game, and Arkansas wins.
And without a spread, I wouldn't know where to begin on this one. I think Arkansas's got just a tremendous depth at wide receiver. I think they can. You can't double team any one person over there because they can just go to the other side. I see this being a 3-touchdown win by Arkansas. So we'll put our actual picks out when we get them on the website. We'll have those picks. But if I had to just go with a 2-touchdown margin of victory, I would take Arkansas on the points.
I'm right with you. I think it's going to be a 3-touchdown game at least. Tennessee. Tennessee's secondary was bad to begin with, and their best corner, Prentice Wagner, is a decent safety. So you're taking your best ball defender and putting him at safety because you don't really have any other options. So you're taking your best cover guy and putting him at safety on an already pretty roughed up unit. So I think Arkansas's got a little bit to prove this week. It's at Arkansas. It's a tough place to play, and I think they smell blood on this one. Sorry, Drew.
Whatever. All right. Last game we've got Florida going to South Carolina. Also, no spread on this game, no line on this game. Once again, we believe it has to do with Connor Shaw not really knowing what's going on with him. I think this is a case of I think that South Carolina's offense is still going to be missing a little bit. If I had to put a spread on this game, I think it would be South Carolina by 5.5, maybe 4.5. I would take Florida. I think Florida's going to win this one outright. I think that Demps is a little closer to being healthy. Having Brantley back makes his team, different, and I just don't like South Carolina's offense.
What you're saying there is that Florida or South Carolina is not as good as Vanderbilt, is what you just said by saying Florida can win outright, and South Carolina still has a shot at the East. I mean,
why is it saying that they're not as good as Vanderbilt?
Well, if you're putting them as a 5-point favorite,
I'm putting South Carolina as a 5-point favorite, but I still think.
And you said Florida's going to win outright.
Yeah.
So you think that I'm sorry, but Florida beat them by 5, right? 26-21, was that the score? So you're saying that they're better than South Carolina, or South Carolina's?
I think if Vanderbilt played South Carolina right now with the injuries that they have at Vanderbilt, I think that I'd probably pick Vanderbilt to win that game the way they're playing right now. I'm not afraid. I mean, if Connor Shaw's hurt and they've got no running game and Alshon Jeffrey's not getting the ball thrown to him, they're a defensive team. I mean,
and their defense isn't that good. I understand where you're coming from. It's hard for me to say that the team that still has a shot to compete for the East is not going to be able to win this against Florida, who has nothing to play for anymore except the role of spoiler. And I just can't buy into that. And I could be completely wrong.
I also took Florida to win. It's kind of like you and your man crush on Arkansas. I also took Florida to win the East, and I took John Brantley to compete for the Heisman. So I'm gonna keep pumping him up, I guess.
There we go. I'm gonna take South Carolina on that one.
I'm going to take South Carolina too. These are horrific offenses, both of them. It's not going to be a very pleasurable game to watch, I don't think. I think South Carolina cleans up. I think South Carolina matches up with Florida. For some reason, Ellis Johnson has no answer for Petrino. He didn't have an answer at Mississippi State when we played Arkansas, and he's never had one at South Carolina. Arkansas just seems to drum them. So I kind of take last week a little bit out of it. Their offense is terrible, but I think their defense is one of those kind of LSU risk-reward defenses that can come up with an interception run for a touchdown, those types of things. So they still got something to play for. So I give it to South Carolina.
There we go. that's the picks. Time wise, we did pretty good so far. We'll roll it around the round table one last time. Open mic. Anything you guys want to talk about? It's fair game, and we'll close up shop after that.
Well, I'm excited. I think this is a good week of football. I'm getting a chance to go do a little tailgating and go down there and see Alabama, play my Bulldogs, and good weekend of college football, and be interested to kind of follow this Ole Miss debacle that's going on. So it's pretty entertaining. So again, my Twitter is at Blair Smiley, SMYLY.
First off, I want to apologize. I got yelled at today for my use of the mic, and I want to apologize to all the listeners that quit listening, and people that are still there, thank you. I'm not going to say that Shane overreacted, but I don't have the headphones on, so it was probably pretty loud. Second thing I want to say is you can follow me on Twitter at DrewYoung20. I'm going to try to throw some good stuff out there this weekend, tweeting-wise. Had a work weekend at the house this last weekend. The wife pulled one of those, and we tilled up a garden and the flower bed and laid mulch and cut trees down, right in the middle of football season. That was great, and feel good about that, and hopefully can get some TV watching time this next weekend. And the last thing, and the third thing, Shane.
So you're getting your garden ready for spring? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, we've tilled all that up. We put some 6x6s around it to kind of build up one side of it to make it level. We're going to try to do this thing right this year, man. Some tomatoes, some squash. So if this podcast stuff doesn't work, I'm going to be a farmer.
So you were just letting the ground rest this year. Is that what you were doing?
We're just we're tricking the weeds. The weeds, let them get overconfident. They think they can come back in real easily. And it was twofold. And the squirrels. We had a problem with squirrels getting the tomatoes and all the crops and everything. Crops. I don't know. Can you call them crops when you have a 16 by 12 garden? The vegetables. I'll put it that way. Or actually, I think a tomato's a fruit, isn't it? So
it is.
The sustenance. The squirrels were eating it, and so we didn't put it up a year. Hopefully, the squirrels are going somewhere else and finding free food somewhere. So they're like, "Hey, this guy doesn't have tomatoes anymore." So.
Well, you also had the flood take you out a couple years ago, right?
It didn't help, but we actually grew.
I remember it washed out quite a bit there.
We moved the garden a little bit to fix it. This is some compelling radio right here.
Here we go.
Last thing, and this is going to be not compelling at all unless you're one of 9 people. Just a quick shout out. This is my first year coaching any team. I coached 10 and 11-year-old flag football team, and we lost this weekend in the playoffs, second round of the playoffs. Just congratulations to the kids, man. They came back. I had to get on the refs a little bit this time. I did get an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty and threatened to get thrown out of a 10 and 11-year-old flag football game.
I love it.
But I told the referees what I was seeing. He said I wasn't seeing that. I told him again what I was seeing. He said he wasn't seeing it. I told him it happened that last play, and you were standing right beside it, so you either weren't looking or you don't know the rules. I didn't say it like that. I just repeated my point about 3 times. And on the 4th time when I repeated it, I got the flag thrown on me. I hadn't had one of those thrown on me since my playing days at UT and Intramural, so I was excited about that. But, didn't get the win, almost came back. We were down 3 touchdowns and came within 1 score, and they ran the clock out on us. But congratulations to the 10 and 11-year-old Falcons on a good season, and we'll get them next year.
All right. Well, I know last week's podcast got out a little late. We had some issues. We had Halloween, of course, so with little ones that messes up. We do like to record on Mondays a lot, so that kind of threw things out. So we had a good time trick-or-treating with the little kiddos, but we're back on schedule here, so we want to thank everyone for listening in. You can find us in all the places, Twitter, SEC SRT, Facebook, SEC Sports Roundtable. Drew's holding his hand up. He wants to interject here something.
All right, I'm just getting. I'm on a Tennessee message board right here. I was trying to see if somebody had a spread up for that Arkansas game. Want to give you an update. In the first half, Kentucky exhibition basketball was up 67-9 over Morehouse, and right now with 16 minutes to go in the second half, give or take a few minutes, I don't know when this post was made, 88-16 Kentucky. So let's go Big Blue.
There we go.
I'm jumping on the bandwagon.
You keep saying that, then you keep going back to the orange.
I can't. I'm flip-flopping.
So we're glad it's basketball season. From the Wildcats have something to be hopeful for. But Facebook is SEC Sports Roundtable. Try to get on there. Like us out there on Facebook. We try to throw out some questions for you guys, and would love to have your opinions on what you think on the things that are happening in the SEC. So we throw those out somewhat regularly. So try to get on there, like us, and do that. You can find the podcast on Stitcher. Just do a search for SEC Sports Roundtable. On iTunes as well, just do a search for SEC Sports. We're way up there on the iTunes, and go on and just subscribe. That's the easiest way to do it. Every time a new podcast comes out, you don't have to worry about it. Next time you sync up, it's going to be there. So that's the easiest ways to find us. You can find me personally at P. Shane Bailey. That's my Twitter. And the Roundtable, I want to thank you guys again for sticking with us and listening to it. It's something we love doing. We enjoy doing this. We just take up our own regular time. Another shout out to our wives. We all are married, and they let us take over our dining rooms and set up this contraption of wires and microphones and recording devices to do this podcast each and every week. So we want to thank them for allowing us to do this. So I'll take a second to do that. And with that, I'm going to call this roundtable done.